Sukarno, the first president of Indonesia, born on 6th June 1901 in Surabaya, Indonesia, died on 21st June 1970 in Jakarta, Indonesia. Sukarno said the worst cruelty that can be inflicted on a human being is isolation. Sukarno, born Kusno Susrodiharjo, was an Indonesian politician who was the first president of Indonesia, serving from 1945 to 1967. Sukarno was the leader of the Indonesian struggle for independence from the Dutch Empire. He was a prominent leader of the Indonesia's nationalist movement during the Dutch colonial period and spent over a decade under Dutch detention until released by the invading Japanese forces in World War II. The failure of the 30th September movement in 1965 led to the destruction of the PKI with executions of its members and sympathizers in several massacres with an estimated 500,000 to a million dead. He was replaced in 1967 by one of his generals, Suharto, and remained under house arrest until his death in 1970. Mr. Sukarno said, the worst cruelty that can be inflicted on a human being is isolation. The worst cruelty can be inflicted on a human being is dragging the people into the cities and isolating them from their family members, and then torturing them in the factories. It is just an experiment done on rats. You have considered people so bad, right into the cities. And people were disconnected from the family members in the name of money, because I do not know whether it was the political leaders. Maybe they also needed some kind of education. When to become a church father, you have to undergo 12 years of training, theology training and philosophy training, etc. I think the political leaders have to undergo, because they are the people who are ruling, the leaders, especially chief ministers, the ministers, the prime ministers should undergo a training to find out how to use our resources. When they know how to use our resources, then there is no fear to drag the people. They should not be remote controlled by some foreign forces. The invaders are barbarians. You looked at the barbarians every word. Nobody can touch you if you have a pyramid of the pyramid in every village, in every family. That pyramid will be the strength of the country. When you destroy the pyramid, then you do not know what to do. You just take money, begged money, and created factories and companies in the big cities and dragged the people. Men were dragged into the cities and men went wrong, went mad. Isolation. Sukarno understood, because he was almost a decade in prison under the Dutch rule. So he must have understood. They must have isolated him. So much of pain when you are alone. Deep down pain in the cities, and then no facilities. They have not done any wrong. And the people who have not done wrong, you drag them into the cities without proper water facilities, with the sewage facilities, without allowing them even to see their father or mother or wife or children. And then when they go mad, what does a single elephant, lonely elephant do? He becomes mad. It's very dangerous when you see an elephant not in the group. When he's alone, then there is trouble. The elephant in the forest is the same like the people in the city, alone. And the next door people also do not know. In the factories also hardly they get any time to interact. You isolated them, and then you created more police stations to tell you are bad, you are bad. People go mad when they are isolated. That's only one thing they get is to drink and they don't see the wife and children, and they don't see the relatives, and they are not in a house, anybody can go mad. Then drugs, drinks, then they call it, I do not want, molest and rape and all those are the connecting link of that isolation. And then you need psychiatrist, psychologist, and varieties of diseases. All that are connecting link for the invaders who have created those factories to continue to make money. Sukarno understood the worst cruelty that can inflict on human being: isolation. People are living in isolation means they're living in deep pain. Even a plant will not give fruits if it is isolated. In the forest you can see this happiness. You do not have to give them any manure. If you isolate it, then you have to specially give them manure. You have to take care, and they keep on falling sick. Even the same on the domesticated animals also. A huge amount of hospitals open, but in the villages hardly any domesticated animal goes to the hospital because they are happily enjoying jumping, dancing. You have disconnected the joint family system. You isolated people from that so that you can control them. And you yourself is living in pain. This has to be corrected, I think. The worst cruelty that can inflict on a human being is isolation. When it comes back to India, when it comes back to our Hindu Shastra called the yoga, then isolation is not isolation. It is beautiful because majority of the Hindus practiced yoga. And yoga is to isolate you, means to talk to you. So there was a meditation. Now in this COVID-19, people have been isolated and people are going mad, it seems. But why should you go mad if you are all practiced? You have not even created that system for people to practice that. You can practice pranayama. You can practice your asanas. And then the best is the meditation. Meditation, you can sit for 10 hours, 20 hours. Yes, the more you meditate, more power you become, more powerful you become. Yes, that the world has not understood. Neither they have been taught in the cities. Yes. If this isolation is cruelty, what Mr. Sukarno has found out, everybody is undergoing this isolation of cruelty. That cruelty leads to several diseases, leads to madness. Yes. Then killing and knifing and chopping. All you need more police stations. You have to bring the army. This has to be understood. A meditation could help in solving this major problem because people will become masters. But who wants people to become masters? So meditation is not allowed. You have destroyed. In my last 135 short discourse, I was talking about the joint family system. When the joint family system, anybody can go and just check in the joint family system. Hardly you can find diseases. The mother will not feel sad if the son has gone a little far away because there's another sister's children are there all around, full of children, uncles and aunties and father, grandfather. They get so much of happiness. Medicine is not at all a problem because let thy food be thy medicine. Sukarno, Mr. Sukarno, the first president of Indonesia, was saying, the worst cruelty that can be inflicted on a human being is isolation. Let us all join together to create that family tree. When the family tree is there, every child do not have to go for tuitions because there are so many grown-up brothers and sisters to give them a helping hand. In fact, there's maybe a smallest kid will know when the 10th standard lessons also. Yes, the children will pick up that fast. Even I was shocked in the martial arts. When they used to practice a coordination exercise called kata. The black belt kata is sometimes a white belt who came there. He knows that he will just watch and he will do it. There's so much energy when there is a huge group of people practicing together. Mr. Sukarno was telling the worst cruelty that can be inflicted on human being is isolation. Let us not isolate. It is disease. This is my 136th short discourse. Wishing Indonesia happy Independence Day today.